Hello, hello, welcome back to Oolykee Gaming and welcome back to another episode of Workers and Resources Mod Monday, and oh boy do we have a good ones. Stay tuned for the details. Right, first but not least, we have two mods from our good man Rob074. So we have Small Technical University and we have Molcha Big School. Let me read a word or two regarding these buildings. So we're gonna go with Small Technical University. Small Technical University is based on a real building in Lublin. I'm shocked. Poland employs 20 workers with basic education and 20 lecturers. Educates about 60 students, and you have description in Polish and yes, of course, Mr. Robs074. It can be found in the mod section in the university. Here we go. Oh, sorry, yes. So this would be Small Technical University. You can find it over here. It costs more or less 40,000 to build in this area, and this is quite refreshing because it's really small, cheap little university, and it's for beginning definitely better than the big ones that we have in vanilla. I love this guy's work, and it's really amazing. You can find it here, and 1632 work days. This is more or less what you can base it on, how long it's going to take you to build it, and of course you saw that it's 40,000 rubles. Next one would be a big school. I just love what this man does. Right, a school from the 80s based in a real building in Lublin, Poland, employs 45 people with basic education, 45 teachers, educates about 540 pupils. The pack also includes a school gym attached to the school, which works as a sports facility, employs 6 workers, and serves 40 citizens. And you have description in Polish, of course. This is Mr. Robs. He already made something simple that I'm already using, but I will show you with the sports playgrounds, and here we go. This is a school gym that can be attached, and it's perfectly amazingly made that it can fit snugly against these buildings. Bam. And I'm gonna show how it looks when it's finished. So for example, you can put it here, but of course it's all up to you where you're gonna place it. This is something how it looks where I come from, schools in the cities, and this one is a model from Lublin, Poland, and it looks magnificent. I'm definitely gonna be using those. Let me just finish building real quickly. Let's see how the gymnasium looks like, and bam, perfect, absolutely stunning. Okay, let's move on. Next up, we have two new buildings. One of them is invisible here on the left hand side. That is Cinema Sputnik. Unfortunately it's invisible because I can't find it in our mod section. If I go here and I try to find the cinema, no, I have only other mod that we're gonna be presenting later on, and no cinema. I cannot see Cinema Sputnik. I tried restarting a game several times, reinstalling it, it didn't work for me, but I need to present this. You have a link in the description because it looks magnificent. It's smaller than usual cinema, it looks so communisty, so I think it would be really good if you tried it yourself. Maybe it's due to my computer or game or something like that. I have a lot of mods, but I couldn't make it work. Let's say something about Invisible Cinema Sputnik would be the hangar type Cinema Sputnik was built in Tashtak, Kazakhstan, on the site of the old church, when the 11th century library was located in this building. Now it houses a gospel center. Workers needed 5, citizens able to serve 25. It would be perfect size and shape, and it looks really nice. And I wish we had it here to demonstrate it, but I can't find it for some reason. The second mod from Benzer as well would be this one, Restaurant Pub Salute. Hotel Salute was built in 1984, Kiev, Ukraine. Salute has become one of the most unusual buildings of the past year. Salute has a bar, restaurant in front, and in the restaurant and in the game also works as a pub. And you have more of his mods linked there in the description, and you can check it. Why is it unusual? Because it's freaking looks amazing. It looks really cool. That's not something that I usually do, have pubs on our maps, but I think from time to time we could implement this if I decide to go for alcohol and make our people a little bit happier and live a little bit shorter. But for now, this is how it looks. Right. It can be found in your pub section, and here we go. In the end, we have Restaurant Salute. Costs only 6,249 to build, or if you want to construct it yourself, 281 work days and just a little bit of materials. It's not really that expensive. But anyway, you have both of those mods in the description, so you can check it out yourself, and we gonna move on. Right, we have a set. I love sets. I really love sets. We have a set from Legend Gamer. I'm gonna read the description. This is 2 power plants and 3 heating plants. I'm gonna explain everything. They're supposed to be working as a one building, but unfortunately, game doesn't allow for one building to create 2 resources. In this case, it would be heat and electricity. You have to separate them, but they fit snugly next to each other, so they act like a single building. I will show you. There are a couple of details that you must know about this, but let me just show you. So this is combined heat and power. Actually, you know what? Just for construction purposes, for demonstration, I'm gonna show you how it looks when we shift it around, because this is gonna be important as well. I will do it like this. And while we wait for this to be finished, I'm gonna read the description of this. So, a combined heat and power plant, CHP, is a type of thermal power plant that not only produces electricity but also source of thermal energy in centralized heat supply system in the form of steam or hot water, including by providing hot water supply and heating for residential and industrial facilities. Okay, stop. Now my words. This is exactly how the power plants where I come from are used. They are both used for heating and for electricity production. In this case, we have exactly that. But unfortunately, there are 2 different buildings, and you have to treat them as 2 different buildings. I'll show you the details. Let's continue on the description. What Legend Gamer said. In the game, unfortunately, there's no way to make a combined CHP, but you can make it modular. There are 2 buildings that, when placed correctly, form one building, can produce both heat and electricity. This is a set of several buildings working on a different resource in order to correctly build a single building. First place the power plant, and then next to it heating plant, so that the edges match. Also, for ease of alignment and realism, there are pipes connecting the power plant and the heating plant. Enjoy your construction, comrade. Right, so that was the description, and let me show you what's the deal. So the deal is, they don't perfectly fit here, but that could be just me. And let me demonstrate what he said. You can see here cut side of the buildings, you can see pipes where they go in. I tried to align them as best as I could, and of course, obviously, I made mistakes, and probably it can be aligned much better so it fits snugly next to each other. And yes, building is practically connected, but it has to be correctly placed. So why so many buildings? First of all, you have 2 power plants, coal and bitumen. You choose which one you want to use. I'm gonna tell you, don't use bitumen. Bitumen is just too expensive to be wasted as electricity. Only as realism you would be using that. Second, we have 3 types of heating plants. Heating plants being coal, bitumen, and wood. Of course, I don't support the wood ones, but that's all up to you. Coal ones produce 236 gigajoules of heat, while the other 2 create a little bit more heat, while we have 1175. Okay, so we have bitumen power plant creates a little bit more electricity than the coal one. Coal one goes to 11-12 megawatts, and this one goes 16-17 megawatts, the bitumen one. The third one I constructed is of course a bitumen as well, but it's just demonstrational purposes to see how the pipes are laid out. So you can connect them, and as you can see here, I'm gonna create one more, or at least I'm gonna show you how it looks like. They have bitumen one has pipe connections going in, and several electrical connections, 3 for high voltage and 2 for medium voltage, and the coal one has input for coal for heating. Same thing. Yes, actually, the heating plants don't have input, don't have conveyor belt as an input, and I'm pretty sure they're not gonna function. They're not gonna be switching coal if you connect them both on coal, that they're gonna be working just on coal and that's it. No, you're gonna have to deliver. Oh, here we go. My bad. So we have input of coal from this side. So they're gonna have to be treated as separate buildings with separate workers with all the blah 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 separate stuff. But they look magnificent. Anyway, Legend Gamer, I obviously invested a lot of effort in this, and the mods look magnificent. Definitely thumbs up from me. And now from Vcom. The Forgotten Building. Why the Forgotten Building? Because I forgot to build it initially, but I built it now just before I started recording this segment. Now this is Tiny House of Culture made by Vcom. You have the link to this mod in the description. Tiny House of Culture inspired by a real building in Brno, built in 70s. I'm not sure if the building was originally meant to serve this purpose, but now it does in real life. Employs 5 workers, serves around 35 guests. It is closed at night, so there are no glowing windows. Okay, well, we'll see the buildings at night as well. That means that he didn't employ any lighting in it, but that's fine. So this is the building. It's absolutely tiny, but it serves more than its purpose, because these cinemas usually we don't need huge ones. Even for huge cities, I never saw any of them full, so I think this would be probably the best, one of the best mods out there for its purpose. So small, you can build a lot of them, and definitely they're gonna supply all the city with culture that they need. I love this mod. Okay, skipping the awkward big building that we're gonna come back to, we're gonna go and deal with these 2 buildings. This is definitely, I would even say 100% you're not gonna see this in my Let's Plays, but I bet that a whole bunch of you are gonna be really interested in this. These 2 buildings are just revamped versions of Asphalt plant and concrete plant. They're made by Mikhail, and I'm gonna read the same description for both, just Asphalt/concrete. So there are 2 different mods, and there are 2 different links to these mods. So I'm just gonna go for it and say Asphalt plant with much higher 100 ton versus 0.5 ton output buffer, output storage. Note, if you like this, you will probably also like my other mod, that is the concrete plant in this case. Rationale, sure, I know this is not realistic, but here is why I'm doing it anyway, because the way the game manages workers and shifts is unrealistic. Factories don't have lists of employees who are expected to arrive at designated times, thereby ensuring the plant are always staffed. Instead, workers start each day without a job and essentially walk and commute until they find one. Of course, the player has some control over the process, but it isn't enough to accurately model how employment worked in Soviet states. Worse still, since the USSR had the goal of full employment, if you try to replicate that in the game, it's quite likely that there will be occasional labor shortages at specific enterprises, and factories with only 5 employee slots are quite likely to have no workers at all on occasion, even with a well-designed transit system. Having said all of that, in real life, of course, Soviet states did have serious issues with absenteeism and material shortages, including hoarding. So maybe the game is trying to model that with the concrete and asphalt plants, but if so, that's an inconsistent approach. This mod aims to make all the buildings consistent in the terms of how they model absenteeism and material shortages by addressing one of the two buildings that isn't consistent with all others. I also made a mod concrete plant. So this is the description, which I will just say bollocks. I agree. They are supposed to be always workers supplying this, but you can make that work if you have good transit system. Usually you wouldn't transit on long distances, and also from the bus stops you can tell people where to go to work, and you can always have these buildings staffed if you have good transit system and if your people are happy and not escaping. But I agree with a whole bunch of stuff that he wrote as well, and that's why I'm presenting these mods as they are. I will not be using them, but I suggest that you guys try it. So we have asphalt and concrete storage in these two buildings. They work exactly the same as vanilla ones, and I'm pretty sure that they look exactly the same as vanilla ones, but they just have enormous storage. Fine, like I said, I probably won't be using them, but I see where the mod maker is coming from. So there you go, presentation. Mikhail invested his time to create these mods, so go and check them out. If this is something that you want to deal with, perfect, enjoy. Okay, the last but not least, ta-da, I give you the Dubrov tower. Okay, this is made by Benko54, also known modder, but I'm gonna say one thing, I have no idea what this is. I tried googling Dubrov office tower or Dubrov or something like that, even including 166 meter height into the description in Google, but I couldn't find what this building is. I will just read the description from Benko. The Dubrov tower. Dubrov office tower has a height of 166 meters. Up to 210 people can work hard for the Republic here. Indeed, it looks magnificent, it looks amazing, and of course this is the last mod as well that probably I won't be using that much of, but I can see the appeal and design. It really took a lot of effort to create this. The mod can be found, it acts as a city council. So that's it. It acts as a town hall. You can find it in your just find it. City hall, and you can find it here, Dubrov. It's not cheap by any means, and also you can see the description here. 210 workers. We're gonna test it now. It's heating water tank, 107 cubic meters. That's enormous place to heat. Just to get to the city data. We'll see how many people we're gonna need for that, but let's go through this first. 4,592 work days required for this, just under 250 tons of steel, a little bit of bricks, and for some reason no prefab panels, even though it seems from the outside that it's built solely of prefab panels, but it could be just me, I'm not seeing it here. Anyway, building looks magnificent, and I'm not really sure if I should be having this in my Let's Plays, because, you know, just to act as a city hall. Let's test it out. Right, we're gonna have a small building placed right next to it. We're gonna populate the building. It's already populated. Let's see at what point do we get the data for the town. If we really need 100 people to work in this building to get the data, this is definitely not worth it. But let's not guess. So we have 70 people. I filled in this building of 350 people or workers all the way to the top. We're still not getting data. And this needs a power supply. Let me just real quickly get a power supply. I'm gonna get one of those working. Unfortunately, there seems to be a little bit of an issue with this mod. I paused the game. Hopefully it's not gonna crash. If it does, we just gonna end it there. So what's the deal? If I put all these people in there, the game just crashes. It happened like 10 times in a row now. I tried only with the building and the power supply, even our own power plant, but it just doesn't work. There's some issue with the power plant, so with the buildings, so I'm gonna leave the notes for the mod maker, and hopefully they're gonna fix this. Usually they just leave the same link as it is, they just fix the mod, so there's no need to, if you subscribe once for this, that's probably gonna be it. Let's see here, let's try to crash it. Let's see if the game's gonna crash. If it does, that's gonna be it. But here we go. Guys, hope you enjoyed this one. I'm personally voting for school and blank. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, press the like button. If you didn't, leave a nasty comment in the comment section. We have a blackout. Like, subscribe, and see you in the next one, guys. Bye bye.